Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio, what is poppin'?
Hey, I started doing the grovelly John Coleman. You like that or no?
Sounds like, why don't you get into my car? No, that doesn't sound, no. That's good,
You
though.
got some candy for me, little boy?
Right. White van, no windows type of intro.
Oh, what's poppin'? Well, we had the UCF helmet proudly displayed because we are in August.
Yes.
August is the start of college football season and NFL football season, in my opinion. Although many of the games don't technically, like the real games that matter, start until like the 1st of September.
Shout out UCF joining the Pac-12.
Shut up.
Is that? I don't know.
Big 12, homie.
Oh,
Big 12.
They're not part of the SEC?
They are not part of the SEC.
But that would make sense because
we're in the Southeast.
What do I know?
What do you know? Look,
Really not.
It's for you non-football fans. Just know everything is foobarred right now with this conference realignment. But it is a big deal that UCF is entering into the Big 12. The Pac-12 is basically falling apart, and then they're taking the Big 10, which is normally like the Midwest. And they're bringing in 2 California teams.
Let's go.
Because that's the Midwest to me.
Why not?
Yeah, when I think Midwestern values, I think California.
I think Ohio and everything west of it.
Yes. Yeah, speaking of Ohio.
Uh-oh, here we go.
And UCF, shout out to my buddy Nick Smith.
Okay.
He's a huge Ohio dude.
Okay.
But now he works for the good guys.
Okay.
He's like my account rep over at UCF.
Oh, good.
Yeah, if you ever want like to talk season tickets from my Orlando fans.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, like Orlando people.
Dio's got the plug.
Yeah, reach out to Nick Smith.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
Maybe I'm plugging Nick because I just had lunch with a good buddy of mine. Like, we grew up together playing baseball, and I really haven't connected with Randy since probably after high school, so 20 plus years ago. But he has a colleague of his from UCF. Randy's graduating with like yet another degree, like this time is MBA.
For sure.
And he has this younger professional by the name of Drew. And Drew is graduating with Randy both this Saturday. They're walking. And Drew has landed a job with New Day Mortgage.
Okay.
And Randy's like, hey, I know this guy. When you meet with him, you can talk mortgages, everything else. And I asked Randy, so what do you want to do? He's like, man, I don't think I want to do mortgages. I would love to work for like Orlando City, or I would love to work for like Orlando Magic,
right.
or maybe I said, how about UCF? So sure as heck, I texted Randy Nick's info.
There you go.
So, if I want Nick to do me a solid by maybe getting Randy an interview, then maybe I need to shout out Nick.
There you go.
That's how the work works.
That's how it is.
And then shout out to Drew.
Yeah, you just gave him leads, bro. You're just handing out leads.
I don't know, like
it's a warm lead.
All Nick wants to do is raise money for UCF.
That sounds like
so. Like, if you reach out to Nick, please know he's going to hit you up for like donations.
There you go.
That's what he does.
Right.
Yeah, but he's a good dude. He's like one of my favorite people over at UCF.
I don't have a creative segue into today's segment, so I'm just going to go ahead and lay it on you.
Well, we're gonna geek out.
You are going to geek out.
We,
Okay,
John,
together.
you and I'm going to speak. You're going to ask questions.
Yes, that is how this
The
episode.
viewers love you because they're always like, JC always asks the questions that I'm thinking.
Right, when I have time.
When I don't shut up.
When it's in between breaths, I've learned to count them. And I was like, he's about to breathe in 3, 2, 1, time.
And the more I train for this half Ironman that I'm doing in October, the less breathing I have to do.
Really?
You get in the pool and start swimming a mile, 2 miles at a time, you realize that you have way more lung capacity than you ever thought.
Well, yeah, I don't feel like the need to feel like I'm drowning every third breath I'm taking, so I'll take my time in the pool.
But I'm not drowning.
I know, but it feels like you are. But you even said you learn how to drink water, get up your nose, and you just ride with it, right?
Have to.
No.
You got to figure it out.
I am out.
Yeah, you do these races, and you're doing like a half Ironman is 70.3 miles. Takes 6-7 hours depending on who you are.
You're drinking a gallon of water.
Yeah.
Pond water, seawater. What? That's not.
Well, no, you're only swimming for like 1.1 miles.
Only swimming for 1 mile.
Then you're biking for 56. Then you're running for 13. But the interesting thing is at some point you have to urinate.
And then.
Do you stop or do you just urinate in your tri-suit and keep going?
I mean, I guess you just push through, power through.
I think from what I heard, the real triathletes, they just let her rip.
Really?
Let her go.
Are you prepared?
Oh, yeah, I'm prepared. Yeah, I'm ready to go. You're already going to be soaking wet from either the pool or the river or the lake that you were in.
And then after,
and all the sweat, like what's a little bit more? And I'm sure it's crystal clear.
Right.
Because you're dehydrated as hell.
That
Get
shit
out,
is
drink water.
yellow as dirty lemonade. All right, so today's topic, Freddie Mac and ADUs.
No, so here's what I want to do, because we don't geek out enough sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And recently it was announced from Freddie Mac that they are actually going to allow rental income derived from a ADU, accessible dwelling unit, to be used to help a consumer qualify for a home loan.
Is that a big deal?
This is huge. So when I was up in DC in in April.
Yeah.
I was up, it's August now.
Yeah.
I was up in DC in April. I was with the Mortgage Bankers Association. They have their annual national advocacy conference.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that conference, you get to march on Capitol Hill and meet with some of your representatives. And pushing for this type of regulatory change was one of the things that we were doing. There's two big things that we were doing. We were trying to promote the use of ADUs and promote the use of income derived from ADUs as a way to help with affordable housing. And we're helping push remote online notarization. Well, currently the House, I know everyone follows what's going on in the House and the Senate, but they just passed a bill where it is very pro making remote online notarization legal, open, accessible. So now we need to go to the Senate, then the president, and everything will go its way. But that was something we're advocating on the industry's behalf.
Right.
Well, this coming out of Freddie is huge, because think about it. You, as a home buyer, you may qualify for only $275 as a purchase price, but the home that fits your needs is like $375, and that extra $100,000, which is about $600 a month in terms of monthly payment, you're not comfortable or you don't qualify. And usually it's you don't qualify. Your DTI is going to be too high. But you're probably saying to us, but like, look, this home has an accessory dwelling unit, right? Maybe it has a detached unit in the backyard that is an efficiency suite that I can rent out. And I can rent that thing for $900 a month. Well, it used to be like, all right, cool, man, high five. Like, good for you. But I couldn't use that $900 a month to help you qualify. Now, Freddie Mac says, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey, John, that home that you're looking at with the accessible dwelling unit, if we can document it appropriately, we'll let you use 75% of the proposed rental income to help offset that mortgage payment. Oh, wait a minute. You're able to buy $375, not $275. Yes, your mortgage payment is $600 more per month, but 75% of $900 is over $600 a month. So where you didn't qualify, now you do, because the proposed rental income is going to offset that difference that was preventing you from qualifying. That's a win. Now there's going to be some stipulations.
Right.
Like everything in life,
Right.
there are some stipulations. And I even had to print out some little cheat sheet. It's rare.
I was like, what the hell is that?
For those that are tuned in on YouTube, you will notice we have the UCF helmet.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that there's a white piece of paper sitting to my right.
A rarity.
A rarity.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like the most preparation we've done for an episode.
Yeah,
Like
in a while.
Like it took me 3 or 4 minutes. I had to find an email. I had to copy and paste it to a Word document. Then I had to print it out.
Yeah, I heard, what's that sound? I was like, oh, Dio must be printing something.
Yeah, I had to print something.
Okay.
For those of you who tune in like Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Google Play, hey, don't worry about it. You're listening anyhow.
Yeah.
For y'all, I just hope that there's not an ambulance that drives by on Interstate 4 saving a life, and you think you have someone behind you because you're in your car driving to or from work. It's happened once or twice. Yep, so the stipulations, things that you should be aware of. You need to be aware that there are stipulations set forth by Freddie Mac that the income from the ADU, it cannot exceed 30% of the borrower's income, right? So the example that I was looking at, it would be like, hey, if the borrower makes $72,000 a year, which by the way is $6,000 a month, and you're trying to use income from the ADU to qualify, then that income cannot exceed $1,800. Because, John, 30% of 6,000 is 1,800. I have a question for you. Do you know how I did that math so quickly in my head?
Because you practice it on the daily in the shower when you're shopping at Nordstrom Rack.
Well, I don't shop and shower at the same time.
Is that what I said?
My son may.
I didn't know.
My son takes his phone into the
I'll
shower,
probably buy
Blair's music's probably on Amazon, doing Discord, and playing Clash Royale.
Yeah.
That's not my style.
Because
no.
you dominate quick math. That's how you did it.
Because what is 3 times 6?
18.
There you go. That's how I figured it out.
Shit is hard.
Right? The guideline says that no more than 30% of the qualifying income can come from the ADU. So if the borrower's income is $6,000 a month, which is basically $72,000 divided by 12, and the ADU can't exceed, then okay, how do I figure that out? Well, then it means the ADU income cannot be more than what is 3 times 6, $1,800. All right, so that's just, okay, that's a cool caveat.
Yeah.
Right? Something else that can't be done. I think it's very important. Now, these are highlights, hot spots, you may want to call them.
Right.
Something else that cannot be done, you can't move into the ADU
Right. You have
and rent out the main property.
I was about to say.
No, this is for you to live in the main property. And then it's for you to rent out the ADU.
Are there any like stipulations? Like, let's say the ADU is like a piece, like a shack, but I'm charging like $8,000. Are there any like
No, you're thinking appraisal?
Yeah, like,
yes, yeah. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
You can't just like come up with some arbitrary, pull it out of your rear end number.
Okay.
No, you are going to have the home appraised, right? And there's definitely some appraisal stipulations that you'll probably need to be aware of.
Okay.
Because anytime you have a unique property, which by the way, properties that come with ADUs, they're unique. Like something that we were advocating for in DC wasn't even so much like what Freddie Mac is doing. It was telling our federal legislators that we need them to talk to the state and local legislators about promoting communities to allow ADUs, because not every community allows an ADU. So for my loan officer friends who have been doing this for a living for a while, you know that sometimes the hardest part is finding value, because in order to find value, you have to find comparable sales. Well, if I'm purchasing a property with an ADU and I'm using that ADU proposed income to qualify, I'm going to have to go find comparable sales, comps.
Yeah.
That could be a sticking point. That would be a gotcha moment.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm glad you allow it, but can I find a comparable sale to help me figure out, like, A, what is this thing worth? And then more importantly, what would it rent for? Because you don't come up with that number, the appraiser.
Oh, because that's what I was thinking, because you could just jack up the rent and have some.
Correct. Like if you think about when a consumer purchases a standard investment property, whether it's a condo, a single family home, or a duplex, triplex, quadruplex, or townhome, the appraiser is going to do a comparable rent analysis worksheet. That's a part of the appraisal. They charge an extra $100 or $200 to do them. But what it does, it's a piece of paper that goes in the file that lets the end investor, usually Fannie or Freddie, lets them know what the market rent is for this home based on what other homes that are like-sized in that community are renting for. So the appraiser is going to have to go out there and they are going to have to, per their research, determine based on comparables what that particular ADU would rent for. And it's okay if they use for comparable purposes. It may be a mother-in-law suite that they end up using. It could be a studio apartment. It could be a garage apartment.
Okay.
And those are kind of, to me, those are pretty typical ADUs. Like friends of ours, Dennis and Renee, they purchased this new construction home with a detached garage, but on top of the detached garage is a total mother-in-law suite.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking like living room, bedroom, efficiency kitchen, like
Its own.
yeah,
its own
yeah,
place,
like that would be like that thing. I bet would rent for $1,200 a month.
Gotcha.
Like you could easily rent that out for $1,200 a month to a college student who would gladly live in this super nice neighborhood, new construction. All they have to do is walk up one flight of stairs and boom, they're there. Right. So those are some of the things. Something else that I think is going to be a gotcha is the research I've done has let me know, or has reminded me, that the appraisal report must indicate that the accessible dwelling unit, the ADU, is allowed per zoning. Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh, I didn't get this permit.
Wait a minute. Yeah, so homeboy or homegirl can't just go into their planned unit development, convert the garage into some kind of a living quarters, have that not be to code, have that not be allowed per the PUD or not allowed per the municipality, and expect us to move forward with it.
I just boarded up the garage. I thought I was good to go.
Yeah. No,
No.
it's not going to be that easy.
Gotcha.
But it's like anything in life. Hey, this is a step in the right direction.
That's what I was about to ask. Is this like the first domino to fall? Because I know we've talked about this in previous episodes and like with, ADUs and rental properties and all this stuff. Fannie and Freddie have been somewhat trepidatious. Is this like the first domino to fall? Is like Fannie going to follow suit shortly thereafter?
They normally do. Like if Fannie does one, Freddie does the other. If Freddie does one, Fannie does the other. And Fannie would follow suit because they tend to think of themselves as the holier than thou. They are the big sister, and Freddie's the little annoying brother.
Right.
And they, for the most part, historically have operated that way.
Yeah.
Yep. So you could and should see that. Here's some other tidbits I could share just regarding this Freddie Mac ADU. So by the way, Freddie Mac loan officers, that means you're running LPA, right? That's Freddie Mac's automated underwriting system. That means you're also going to have to follow Freddie Mac's guidelines as it pertains to self-employed borrowers, Freddie Mac's guidelines as it pertains to calculating student loan income, or student loan debt. Just keep in mind, this is Freddie guides. But it is only for a purchase transaction or what we call a rate and term refi. So you're not going to do a cash out refi. And by the way, if you're doing any refinances, here we are in August 2022, most refinances are cash out in today's day and age. Because most people have an interest rate higher than what the market is giving, but you can just use a cash out refinance to save someone's financial world. At which point it becomes not about rate; it becomes about lowering their overall debt and their overall monthly payments, consolidating some things together, etc. But that was one of the notes I had written down on the sheet of paper was understanding that you can't use it for a cash out refi.
Is there a certain amount of time you have to have the ADU on the premises before you're allowed to use it for qualifying income? Let's say I just got it like minimum time on premises.
Well, normally you're going to be buying the home and the home already has the ADU on there, right? It's not like it's a she shed that you're like rolling in.
Okay.
Like this is already a structure that's on the property.
Okay.
A lot of times it's like an apartment over the garage or it's a detached building in the backyard. Right. So one of my best friends years ago, and rest in peace, Sean Jeffries, but Sean's home in West Palm Beach was like a 1920 Spanish style home. And that particular home had a detached 1-car garage, but attached to the garage was like its own small apartment. It was an efficiency apartment.
Okay.
So if Sean's address was 121 29th Street, that small apartment was 121 and a half 29th Street.
Oh, right.
Right. So that is a home that's been around for 100 years, a century,
right.
And it has an ADU. But when Sean bought it, he couldn't use any of that rent to help him qualify for the mortgage.
Right.
Although he did rent it, he didn't have the ability to use rental income. And then here's something that at first tricked me up. And I'm like, well, that's bullshit. That's going to totally suck. Right. And then as I read the fine print, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. But I think we should definitely lay it out, especially on today's show. But a lot of times when trying to use rental income to help someone qualify, some in certain situations, loan programs require us as the originator or the underwriter to prove that our borrower, the home buyer in this case, has experience as a landlord. Well, that sucks.
The hell?
How many people are buying a home needing to use ADU income to qualify, and they have experiences as a landlord? So I started reading these guidelines set out by Freddie Mac, and I'm reading right through it, and it's at least one borrower on the loan must have documented previous landlord experience for a minimum of 1 year. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Then I kept going. Or must participate in a landlord education program.
Okay.
And by the way, there's no specific program mentioned by Freddie Mac. So for example, I think you can go to landlordcert.org. That is landlordcert.org. And for about $99,
you can get certified.
I was like, whew.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, cool. Like
I can deal with that.
Yeah, I got a little angry. I got a little fiery. Thank God I kept reading.
Right.
I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool. So if I'm a loan officer, at a minimum, I am using this knowledge, and I'm going to do my own research, and I'm going to put together a 3 to 5 slide PowerPoint deck, and I'm going to try to get it into every single real estate office between now and Thanksgiving, and I'm going to teach them about this. I'm going to teach them how they can take a buyer who was maybe not qualified and make them qualified as long as they find them a home with an ADU. I'm going to get on my social media, and I'm going to talk about it. Right? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm going to let the world know that this is what I can do. Because at the end of the day, it is my job to lead generate. It is my job to be an advisor. It is my job to be the source of all information. Now, people may contact me regarding this particular program and realize, you know what? You qualify for so many other loan programs. You don't need this. But this may have been what attracted them. If I'm a realtor, same exact thing. I'm going to use this knowledge to partner with my favorite loan officer, and let's use this to get people interested in buying a home. We've talked about this in previous episodes. I'm a firm believer that we have a small window, 5 to 7 months max, where it's a little bit of a buyer's market. I think that goes away by March of next year. So there are many buyers sitting on the fence, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the sky to fall. By the way, the sky's not falling. That's not, who is that? That's Chicken Little. Sky is not falling, Chicken Little. But this is knowledge and information that you can take. And you had kind of alluded to something about 5 minutes ago that just got me thinking, and maybe this is how we'll wrap up the show. This is just the beginning. Like, we have a massive, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. We do have a massive affordability issue here in the United States, and probably worldwide in most civilized, Western type countries, where at the end of the day, builders don't want to build homes because they can't make money. It's not that builders don't want to build homes. They do, because that's how they make money.
All right. But
when labor costs X, when supplies cost Y, when land cost Z, right? When zoning, environmental issues cost A squared. When you take X plus Y plus Z plus A squared, it equals a certain number. That number right now may be $350,000 to $450,000. That's not affordable housing. But that's what a builder is saying. That's what it costs for him or her to build a home at bare minimum and not make money. So we have an affordability issue. I don't think it falls on the builder's shoulders, right? This ADU component would help, right? Because obviously it's taking one particular unit and it's turning it into a income stream for the owner to subsidize the cost of that house, and it's providing cheap housing, hopefully in a safe neighborhood for someone who couldn't afford $1,800 or $2,600, but they can afford $900.
I have a question for you before we wrap.
Yes.
In certain communities, is it allowed where like new construction also comes with ADUs? Like, hey, we're all new construction in this neighborhood has like an ADU.
Like those are my friends, Dennis and Renee.
Okay.
Their entire neighborhood. Like, I'm sure not every home, because you don't want every home to look the same.
Right.
But yes, it's very common. So we live in Florida, Central Florida to be more exact. And in Central Florida, a lot of the new constructions being the style right now is detached garages with apartments. Those are ADUs. Now, what we don't know is in that particular community, does the community allow you to rent the ADU?
Gotcha.
If the community doesn't allow you to rent the ADU, then what good does it do? And that's where things start to get hairy. And that was the soapbox I was getting on. I'm like, look, at some point, the communities are going to have to step up. The municipalities. Like, the issue right now is I was listening to a really cool podcast. It's the Ezra Klein Show, by the way. Ezra's very liberal himself, but I like it that he keeps his podcast as neutral as someone who has polarizing views can. But he also has really good guests, and he's a good interviewer, right? It's like, why do I listen to Ed Milet? I don't know if I would like Ed Milet. I don't know him personally, but I love his interview style, right? So because of that, I tune into his show. And nonetheless, when I was listening to Ezra, literally this morning on my bike ride, the guests that he had on there talking about affordable housing, so I'm pulling this from that show, something like this: 75% of all areas in the U.S. are only zoned for single-family homes.
Damn.
Yeah. So somewhere along the lines of 1940, 1950, communities rallied and they said, we don't want multifamily on every street, meaning we don't want duplexes, triplexes, quadruplexes. We don't want 6-unit apartments. Right? How about this? There used to be a time in an age where you had what were called bunkhouses.
Right.
Right? Like I think what you call them, like glorified.
Glorified hostels.
Yeah, glorified hostels. But that used to be a thing. Like that used to be a thing. Like think about being a single tradesman or tradeswoman who wants to live on your own, but you're just getting started out. You're 19 years old. You're 21 years old. You're a journeyman. You're an apprentice. Like, would it be nice to be able to live in a house in a decent area where you just rented the room and the room maybe came with either a shared bathroom or a private bathroom? Almost like dorm style housing. Like think of what college kids get to have now when it's off campus, right? You can spend $1,200 a month. You get your room, your own bathroom, a shared living room, a shared kitchen. And for $1,200 a month, it includes everything, right? It includes cable, Wi-Fi, and water and electricity, right? Like we don't have that. And everything that I'm researching and reading, it's like, well, until we have, and I'm not saying we need to have
like
bunk style housing,
yeah, right.
But I am saying that, hey, we may need to be able to remove some of the environmental impact fees. We may need to be able to allow a duplex, or how about row housing? Just row housing. Like think San Francisco, the painted houses. Why not bring in row housing where you can have 10 houses where normally 4 houses take up that same space, right? So those are just some of the things that when we start talking affordable housing, ADU is the beginning, right? What Freddie Mac has allowed, that's a step in the right direction, but we're not ready to go compete in that half marathon or that marathon. Like right now, we're just prepping to walk the neighborhood.
Okay.
Before we can do a 5K. A 5K leads to a half marathon. Half marathon leads to a half Ironman. Once you do a half Ironman, you know what you say? Shit, I might as well go run the Chicago Marathon, which, by the way, I'm going to put it out there. I'm running the Chicago Marathon next October.
There you go.
October of 2023, I'm going to run the Chicago Marathon because why not?
We'll hold you to it.
Because why not? But that's Freddie Mac. That's ADUs. That's all the time we have for you today. His name is John Coleman. My name is Dustin Owen. You have just tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. If you made it this far, we say thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and keep you for 90 more seconds because we have some business to attend.
Yup.
We have this website. It's pretty badass. We just launched it about 6 months ago, but it's called theloanofficerpodcast.com or
TLOPonline.com.
TLOPonline.com. If you want links to great industry articles, if you want awesome additional educational content specifically geared towards mortgage professionals, check out our sales tools. We have lead trackers, we have worksheets, we have PDF files, guides, and we also have information about our upcoming events.
Yes.
So we have an event that we are going to be attending and participating in. It is in Las Vegas. It is next month in September. It's being held at the Palms. If you want to know more information, check it out. The dates are what? September
21st and 22nd.
21st and 22nd. It is Mastermind 2022, the Mastermind Summit, also known as Mortgage Mastermind.
Yep.
It's a fun event.
Hella fun.
It is a great time to learn, a great time to network. John and I are going to be there. We're going to speak for an hour. We're going to have lunch provided, and our friends over at Jungo,
shout out Jungo,
are going to be providing lunch.
Yep.
So we would love to see you there. If you're listening, check us out on YouTube.
Yes, please.
If you're a YouTuber, check us out on audio.
Yeah.
Make sure you're liking, make sure you're sharing. Look, this shit's free.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the day, this is free. All we ask is that you share us and like us so we can continue to grow our following and more people can enjoy the stuff that we're putting out. That's what keeps us motivated. That's what keeps us wanting to do what we're doing. And it's what will continuously keep us motivated to do more and, more importantly, to get better.
Yes, sir. That was good.
Was there anything else that I missed out on that, John?
I think that was it.
All right, so let's try this one more time. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today, but we will catch you on the next episode. Peace.